All right, so now that our character is bound, what we want to do is we want to actually, I'm going to get rid of this so we have more screen real estate. We want to actually just, fix any weight issues that there might be. Okay, so I'm just going to lift up this leg and we'll see, how bad this is. And honestly, for the back of the leg, that's pretty good. I am relatively happy with that. There's no major issues here. Yeah, that actually looks pretty okay. So what you want to do is just bend and flex and see if you see any major issues, and then you would fix them from there. So this could be a little bit better, but most of the issues I'm seeing actually are right here on the sides, which I kind of knew was going to happen. I know there's some shoulder issues. Let's see what the arm bending looks like. So I'm going to switch this to the FK or the IK mode. So I'm going to hit to 0. And that way what I can do is bend my elbow and see how that looks. So let's go like this and bend it. And it's not awful, but I do definitely see it getting cut in there. See how it's cutting through? So in the back of the knee, someone's not going to see that so much, but here I'm not so sure. So what I'm going to do is try to fix this roughly so you get an idea of how to do that. Okay, so you don't necessarily have to do this to all of it. Honestly, when I do it myself, I paint the entire character manually all the way through on every vertice. However, that's not something you have to do. I'm not expecting you to do that here. I just want you to look for any major issues and fix those major issues. So I want to fix this elbow, make it look a little bit better. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go to the first frame. I'm going to hit, have this select. I'm going to hit S to make a key. Then I'll go to frame like 15. Doesn't really matter, just somewhere down the line here. And then I'm going to bend it forward like this and hit S. So now when I scrub back and forth, I can see it bending. And the reason I want to do that is that as I paint the weights, I can scrub this back and forth and see how it's looking. Okay. So with that done, I'm going to right click over top of the model and then you'll see Paint Skin Weights tool. All right. And now we can see our skin weights. And I just got to get to where this elbow is. So let's go over to the right here. And let's see, left arm and... see, there's the hand. Oh, that's not the actual arm. That's why. Is it up higher? That's the legs. Okay, come on. Wow, this is really slow. All right, that's hand joint. Hand joints. Okay. Computer's being super duper slow. Let's look right. I gotta find my results arm. Here we go. There's the results arm. All right. So results arm 1. You can see I didn't do a good job naming them. This is why it's important to name them. So right here, basically between these 3 here, right, I'm having some major issues. So you can see this one in particular. Notice how it's black right here. So instead of this being a nice blend like it should be between the two, this joint, these vertices right here are not being controlled by this one like it should. You can see the elbow is moving perfectly correctly, but then this one has more influence than it should. This one probably has a little bit, but basically it looks like this one, this joint here is having too much control, where this one should have some. So what we can do to fix that is I can go to my tools here. So you're going to see that, so you select your joints here, you can see the value that they have here, right? Then you'll see you have different options here. You can ignore these top ones. They're not really super helpful. There's replace, scale, add, and smooth. Okay. Replace means that when I paint it, it will totally disregard whatever value is currently in there and put its own value in there. All right. So basically, like, let's say that right now this thing has a value of 0.5. If I use replace and I put like 0.25, it will just make it 0.25. Let's say it's a value of 1, and if I paint this, it'll make it a value of 0.25. No matter what is already on here, it will replace it with whatever value I put here, okay? Then add will add that amount. So let's say that this is 0.5. If I paint 0.25 here, it will make it 0.75. And if I click and paint on it again, it'll make it a value of 1. So basically, it'll just keep adding on top of it again and again. And then smooth does what the name suggests. It will actually try to smooth out the area. So where I see how it's kind of stark right here, I'll just show you. If I have smooth on and I brush this, let me do a feathered brush and let's make this a little bit bigger. You're going to see it's going to basically smooth it out and it's going to blend it better. Might actually be a little more obvious in this mode, but you're going to see that it's just going to try and blend it, okay? So smooth actually, to be honest, would probably work right there because in order to be a smooth thing, it would actually add value. But I'm just going to show you this. I'm going to go here. I'm going to hit B for brush size, okay? B, click and drag. And what I want to do is I'm going to go to add, and I'm just going to use a value of 0.1, we'll say, okay? So I'm just going to keep adding a value until we get to something that looks similar to this. So I'll just click like this, and then I'm going to click like this, and then I'm going to click like this, and then we'll do one more. And you can see it looks like it's pretty close now to the same value. Now let's see what that looks like when it goes to bend up. And you can see it looks a little bit better. Now, it's still getting this a little bit cut in, right? See how like right here you can kind of see it getting cut in? Like that's not great. So you can also see that this bicep is starting to collapse a little bit. See that? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the bicep arm, which is this one right here. Okay. And I'm going to make this more like a typical normal joint here. So I'll just use add. And what we can do is I'm going to paint right here. And I'm going to add. Let me do the color so you can see a little bit more obvious. I still have it on 0.1. Okay. And we'll just go ahead and I will paint a little there. Now let's go ahead and flex up. And you can see now, because there's value of this on there, it's not moving with it anymore. And then we'll just paint there a little bit more. Because by painting the value to this upper arm joint, it takes it away from the other. Okay. And we're going to go like this. All right. And then we'll just go like that. And you can see, okay, that looks all right. But if I'm looking at my part down here, I'm not super happy with the forearm. It almost feels too strong. See how like this part right here, it goes up and it's just cutting in. So I want to make it so this is a little bit weaker, okay? So if we go to this joint, I don't want to add more of this joint onto it. This is pushing it up too much. When it's going up, it's doing too much to it. I want it to do less. What you can't do is remove weights. You can only add. So if I want to take what this one's doing away, what I can do is go to the joint above it, this one. Actually, we'll go to this one even. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use that smooth here. So we'll just hold B, click and drag. And I'm just going to hit smooth and smooth this out. Now you're going to notice when he goes to flex up, see how it's not cutting in quite as bad because we smoothed that out. Now it's going to cut in a little bit here, and I think that's fine. Also, if you look here, see how, let me click on different joints so you can see a little bit better. See how it's really kind of like crunchy? It's like, this is another thing where I can go to, let's say this one. See how the influence is here? Like there's nothing here. It's kind of weird. So I'm going to go to this one. Let's pull this back here. And I'm just going to use a little bit of smooth. I'm going to switch to a feathered brush. And I'm still on smooth. And I'm just going to smooth this area out here. Like so. Maybe even smooth that a little bit. Okay? So now, when it goes up, you can see, because I smoothed it, there's now a more gradual difference of it going across. You can see that's a bit smoother. All right. So there's like a basic elbow that you could do. Now let's do, I'm going to call that, so you could do that for basically any kind of joint that just has one specific bend in it. That should work, okay? So you could do that across really any joint where it has just a normal specific bend. Now some of them, like let's say this one here, when I go to bend this up, is a little bit different, okay? So we will have to do a little bit of something with this, but I'll do that in the next video. We'll fix the shoulder and maybe this hip area. We're going to try and use mostly just smooth to try and fix those.